Greetings, sovereigns, peace, and welcome, 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 welcome. It is 1 o'clock today, so we decided to do a quick live. I set up to go outside. I always have to give you all a little rundown about why I'm here and why I'm not outside. I set up to actually go outside, and I decided it was a little bit gloomy. And plus, having to walk to get to the park, it would take me a little while. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to jump on and do this live and just share with you all. So for those of you who are joining, today I was trying to play some music as usual. As usual, I'm going to find a piece and play something. Because sometimes I enjoy something, anything. And I'm gonna make it soft so that way it's not too loud. But I always like to enjoy a song or two even before I get on my lives. One of my favorite so I have a couple of playlists, and I really enjoy this one. This one is, you could probably hear it, I don't know. I'm not gonna let it play for too long. But greetings, brother Antonio. Greetings, sister Manira. Thank you for being in the space. My battery is so low, but I'm going to continue. And if I shut off, just, let's see again. I'll see you all again in the board on Thursday. But I really wanted to jump in and share a little bit around the gut and the brain and the gut brain connection and how those function in tandem. Um, but more importantly, we're going to spread this out because we're going to have deep dialogue on Friday. I'm going to have deep dialogue on Friday with a health awareness coach, and I really want us to have a deeper dialogue around mental health, and so we'll carry on this conversation into our podcast episode. Of course, on Thursday, I'm going to come through with a couple of ways that we can support a gut brain connection. But today, I wanted to sort of pause my song. This is Sampa the Great. I really enjoy her music. But yes, so the very first thing I wanted to actually touch on was there are literally, right? I think about how many millions of people live in this space, and I can't help but to think about how many people actually have what is considered proper metabolic health. 12%. 12% of people are considered to have proper, right? Fit metabolic health. I don't even know if I'm one of them because there are like these 5 components to them. But even before I start thinking about, after I'm looking the camera, before I even start thinking about introducing those 5 ways, I really wanted to just pull out the fact that, when we think about a gut brain connection, we're literally thinking about how the body processes food, assimilates food, and whatever the body assimilates, right? And whatever is taken into the body is then processed. And of course, it passes to all of the other parts of our structure, right? And it gets to the brain. The interesting thing though is that what I consume, what you consume, what we consume actually affects the type of microbes that grow in the microbiota. And the microbiota, of course, is that community of bacteria that survives in our guts. I like to say they live in their gut rent free. I'm always saying that they live in their rent free. So it's really important to think about diet. And I know sometimes there's always the conversation around food, but food does influence a lot of the organisms that function in our body, and it influences the hormones, the way the hormones are produced. So much can be considered when we consider the role of diet, right? And so one of the things that we know is that when the diet is full of things like sugars and salts and heavily processed foods, it directly affects the gut microbiome, right? And what actually happens is there's good gut bacteria and bad gut bacteria, as simple as it is, as simple as it sounds. And what happens is that the good bacteria, of course, helps to support cognitive clarity and cognitive function. Bad bacteria will, of course, help to build fogginess of the brain, right? And there will be lack of clarity. But it doesn't just stop there, because remember, the brain actually helps to dictate a lot of the functions of the body. So then you're going to find that you have obesity. Gut microbes are directly connected to obesity, and not just individuals, but in terms of long term, right? Generational, right? They actually have been able to identify that gut bacteria or microbes are actually have these links, right? These connections across generations. So I find that, yeah, interesting, but it makes sense. Like when we think about all of the ways that we are connected to our ancestors and our lineage and how things are passed down, right? So again, bad microbiota is directly connected to things like obesity, diabetes, heart disease. Consistently, they actually literally can pinpoint specific gut microbes that are directly responsible or connected to. So it's almost like these are indicators that there will be cardiovascular issues and metabolic issues, right? So what we consume literally becomes, we are what we eat. That's what I should have named it. Like, we are what we eat, right? So let me greet anyone else who has filed in and joined us. I see greetings, Naya, peace. Greetings, Imakuya, peace. Thank you for bidding me peace. Thank you for greeting everyone else in the space. I really love that. Sorry, I really love that. That's my hand in the camera. Sorry. So I am, tell me if I'm getting better at this, y'all. You see me trying to look at y'all. I'm trying to see you in this camera right here. But so the micro, let's jump back to the gut brain, right? The microbiome, or all of the microorganisms that function, what they function, again, like I said, it's a community, but they're all very different. And they're different and they vary based on, you know, just something as simple as, it's very similar to a fingerprint. So each one of us sitting in the chat, including me, we can all probably have similar phenotype and so on. However, the microbes are very similar in terms of like fingerprints. So each person's fingerprint is very and very different, and so is the microbiome of each person. But as I said before, there are similarities based on generations and lineage and things like that. So eating a full diet that's comprised of processed foods will again lead to building up of that bad bacteria. So you again pull away from processed foods, make sure you're constantly checking for added sugars, added salts. Become like, I don't know how to become like a detective almost when it comes to pulling out and identifying foods that have all of these extras and foods that are overly processed. And again, we had a lengthy discussion last strong about maintaining a certain type of lifestyle, and that requires a shift and a change. And part of developing healthy microbiota is shifting into whole based plant based or whole plant based meals, whole plant based foods, because What builds the microbiota is what we call fibers, but also prebiotics. And prebiotics is found in fiber rich foods. So, again, and I'll say this, it isn't the only thing because there are other foods, such as fermented foods, that can help to support the building of the microbiome. But I'm saying this as a little disclaimer because there are some of us who have great difficulty breaking down high fiber foods, and that just requires another step. It requires things like marinating, it requires things like soaking, it may require a bit of steaming to help to break it down. But again, the more you give that bacteria food to break down that is specific to prebiotics and fiber, the more you help to build um, the quality of the gut microbes, right? And increasing the quality of the gut microbes actually increases our ability to have excellent mental health. And then we could probably increase that 12% to 25%. Because again, like I said in the beginning, only 12% of um, Americans, so to speak, are actually considered to be healthy based on metabolic health. So I found that number very, very fascinating. It actually threw me off a little bit because I said, and when I speak about metabolic health, I'm actually speaking about a few things. I'm talking about bone health, right? All of these together are into what's considered a person's metabolic health. And there's cardiovascular and there are others, but when you talk about metabolic health, you're talking about things like your bone function, your muscle function, your like how stable a person's energy is, right? Are you able to be consistent in terms of stamina? That's how that's related in terms of your energy. So if you're working out and you have consistent amount of energy supply to work out, um, that's equivalent to having a healthy metabolic metabolic healthy metabolic function. I'm getting my words tied up, tongue tied. um, but there's also normal blood sugar. That's why at the beginning I identified that one of the major issues that kind of rears its head and is directly connected to bad gut biome or bad gut bacteria is diabetes, right? So maintaining normal blood sugar levels and minimal belly fat. So again, those are 5 areas you could stand in the mirror. You could stand right now, look down, and say, let me kind of give myself a quick assessment. You know, minimal belly fat, normal blood sugar levels, and if you're not someone who measures them consistently, it's time for a checkup. And don't be so afraid of checkups. Don't be so afraid of getting blood work done. I actually think that getting blood work done is an Quia can probably, I'm sorry, y'all. I keep putting my finger in the camera because I'm so accustomed with the camera being on my left. And I've been trying to function with the camera on my right. So I'm so accustomed to taking my thumb and moving, moving the screen and so on over using my thumb on the right side. I keep putting my finger in the camera, so I apologize. But yes, back to blood work, and I think I was saying we do have a nurse in the building, so you can talk a little bit about the type of blood work that is very comprehensive and really gives us a large scope of what's happening in the body. And you can take your blood work and sit with it and read it through. I am an advocate for that, and I'm not saying find go find random information. I'm saying no, ask the professionals. If you are meeting with a holistic practitioner or doctor, ask them questions, take your blood work and go through it with a fine tooth comb and understand how your body functions. what areas you need to work on, what minerals and vitamins are low, which are high, and so on. So anyway, back to the gut brain. So we spoke a little bit about the quality of the gut brain microbes, but again, that's directly connected to the quality of food that we consume. And we can have a whole different conversation around the quality of food that we consume and how that influences the gut brain depending on the seasonal foods that we eat. So that's a whole different conversation, but it definitely is a part of this discussion because many times when we do eat, I mean, and apart from it being fresh and all of these other benefits, the body actually functions in cycles, right? And we know this, and our body functions in seasons, emotionally, physically, biologically, or all seasons, all cycles. So the same is true for the way our body functions as it relates to the foods that are available and the foods that we consume within a season. So very important to think about how are you consuming depending on the season. And I can actually probably do a live on one of those because sometimes it's hard to find places where you can go to identify foods that are local and fresh and are aligned with where you are now seasonally. But I can provide some of those resources for you. Sometimes it's as simple as driving around. One sister shared not too long ago that she just happened to find a place just by driving around. So sometimes you'll find all of these wonderful little places tucked away, and they provide high quality seasonal foods that can help to support the gut brain connection, or what's called the gut brain axis. um, I also wanted to, there was something else I wanted to touch on and I did not um, touch on. I think it was, did I share about the genetics? I did. So, based on genetics, I spoke about there being a connection with the microbes, but also um, there being a difference for everyone in terms of the variety of microbes that are available or function in each person's gut. The last thing I actually wanted to share really quickly, and we're going to continue this conversation on Thursday. This one has to be a really quick live, but we're going to continue on Thursday. The you Everyone in this space, and I'm remind me if I mentioned it before, but everyone in this space along with me, we could all sit and consume the same diet, right, for a period of time, the exact same diet. Yes, brother Antonio. And what we'll find is that our metabolism will be different. We'll also find that our gut microbiome develops differently. So it's not even just there's a difference between each human's body composition, but there's a definitive difference in how our body assimilates and processes food. I just find that absolutely, it blows my mind because you know when I think about how the earth has to supply us with food, I realize that the earth, there's so much tapping into and connecting to the beings that are present for plants to be able to produce such variety that is able to support each and every individual, right? And I'm talking plant-based foods right now. If you're not plant-based, it's not a discussion for you. Hang on in there, we'll help you get to where you need to be. But if you're not interested, give us a like, give us a share, put a comment in the chat, and peace. um Brother Antonio says mango season always has me full of energy. Right. That's interesting. Okay, I don't want to have a conversation about mango season right now. Okay, Brother Antonio, please. It's not fair. It's not a fair discussion. It's not a fair discussion to have at this moment for others. For those of us who are not where there's a mango season and we have to struggle to find a mango period is not a good conversation. I don't appreciate it. Don't appreciate it. I don't know if you appreciate it, Sister Nira or Ima Kuya, but I don't. But yeah, the it's probably the season. It is probably the levels of carbs that are available to you, especially if you're someone who indulges